Mojo Fantasy, our biggest sponsor on the show. We're going to run down some of the biggest games on Sunday and see what props we like from those games. So, Drew, I'll hand it off to you.
All right, first one we're going to go over, my Denver Broncos versus Chicago.
You're not going to say Rivs, Chicago Bears?
Yes, Riv, this is your Chicago Bears, to the point where you kind of fought me on whether or not who would be doing this prop, but of course, got to give it to the guy who actually roots for one of these teams legitimately.
The Bears every week. Who's really the guy?
I respect you for that. I picked them, and I said put the house on the Broncos. And
against the Raiders.
I'm currently homeless. But Denver versus Chicago, I'm just going to read just a bunch of lines. Russell Wilson, over under 243.5 passing yards versus Chicago. Me personally, I think that this is just another game where Russ dominates.
If we've seen the Bears defense the last couple of weeks, you got to go over on this line without a doubt.
Yeah, they've been horrendous. They've been like, our defense has been bad. Bears have arguably been worse than us.
Yeah, it's pretty much easy to over. Take anything to over against the Bears. The defense stinks.
Now, this is a real question. Justin Fields, over under 192.5 passing yards.
109?
192.5.
This is the game, Dehls.
They're disrespecting us also.
Hey, we were showing Justin Fields love on the fantasy reaction.
Really?
Yeah, we made him our start of the week.
I like that. You know what? That's why I fucking love you guys.
Is there a Justin Fields rushing prop?
As of right now, I'm not seeing any Justin Fields rushing props.
I'm staying away from everything Justin Fields passing.
Really?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, in terms of passing yards, he's hit this line twice. Buccaneers, 211.
Really?
Packers, 216.
Didn't notice.
He was absolutely...
It was like yes and 100.
Yeah, like the same way you felt. Lazard felt the same way, man.
He was pretty horrendous versus the Chiefs. Only 99 passing yards, a touchdown and an interception, but that touchdown was way late, and that's when they sat the starters. So you're saying under, or you're just staying away entirely?
I'm staying away from this.
Where's
one.
my camera? This one right here?
Okay. The 1 point.
This is the day. Smash the over on Justin Fields passing yards. It's the breakout, man. We waited. 3 weeks is in. This is the week 4 against Denver's defense. You guys is trash.
Joel,
we're here.
I can't wait till the day that you can talk about these with us,
One
man.
of these days,
One
man.
day.
One of these days.
Justin Fields, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He has not hit that this season.
I'm staying away from that, too.
I'm also staying away from that.
Russ, 1.5 passing touchdowns. I actually love this.
I'm going over on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll take the over on that.
Javonte Williams, who's kind of been shaky, 54.5 rushing yards. Honestly, this might be one of those lines where the Bears' rush defense is not great. On top of their pass defense not being great, we've been waiting for a Javonte Williams breakout game. The script hasn't been there for him. This is a prime Javonte Williams game, honestly, in my opinion.
Drew, I really want to. I'm curious to see what the Marvin Mims line is.
All right, let me see if they actually cooked up a Marvin Mims line.
I'm hoping they did.
They didn't.
No,
they didn't.
oh my
Mojo
God,
Mojo really
folded.
slacks on the low key one. We'll talk to it, guys. They know better. Jerry Jeudy, I know you love Jerry Jeudy. He's one of your favorite wide receivers in the National Football League.
He's one of the best route runners in the league.
He really is. You saw him fry up last week?
I didn't notice.
Nah, it was garbage time. Over under 56.5 receiving yards for Jerry. To be honest with you, they really got Jerry Jeudy going late in that game, really for probably the long term of this season. Russ and him had a great connection last season. They hit more often than not last year when Jerry Jeudy was on the field and played over 70% of snaps. I love this line. The Bears Broncos game is going to be an offensive game. Hopefully,
shootout.
Let's be entertained by two of the worst teams in football, to be honest with you.
I'll take that line with you, Drew.
Okay,
I'll take
all right.
the over on Jerry Jeudy's yards.
All right, Cortland Sutton, 57.5, a yard difference.
I'm gonna take both of them on this game.
We really
I'll
shook
take
up.
it over on
Now,
everybody.
Joel
for
and
the
I
Broncos.
talked about this guy in the fantasy reaction. Actually, Joel's sit of the week, DJ Moore, over 47.5 receiving
Smash
yards.
it.
This guy was one of those that I feel comfortable playing, and I don't know if I feel comfortable putting money on it because the way that offense has been ran so far, you can't trust that they're going to play the mismatches. If as someone who understands how good DJ Moore is, understands how teams have played the Broncos, try and get Damari Mathis on their number one, like the Commanders did with Terry McLaurin, and Terry McLaurin was able to expose that matchup and get into the end zone. That's what I'm hoping that the Bears are smart enough to do, but they've lacked, or there's very little trust for me to put into this Bears offense to believe that they will be smart enough to take DJ Moore away from Surtain. So it's one of those. I'm staying away from this one also.
What's the three that you're going with?
I love Russ over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's been phenomenal this season in terms of just raw statistics. He's been throwing touchdowns pretty consistently throughout the season. And honestly, I'm going Jerry Jeudy, 56.5 receiving yards as well. Those are my 2 picks for this game.
Justin Fields passing yards over. Russell Wilson a touchdown and a half over. And I'm gonna go DJ Moore yards over.
I'm going to go just 2 straight dangerous ones.
Okay.
Over on the passing yards,
Did you just
over
call
on
him
the
dangerous?
touchdowns.
He is
Dangerous.
dangerous. And Mr. Unlimited, don't you forget. I'll tell you this, the only reason I'm concerned about the passing yards, kind of similar to last night's game script where the Broncos could go up big and then we really just decide to make it a Javonte Williams game script's completely out of Russ's hands. Yeah. That's the only reason why I'm staying away from the yards. I still feel comfortable with the touchdowns, but I get where you're coming from. They should light up the Bears.
That makes sense. We're going to go to the primetime matchup. Chiefs versus Jets on a
Flex that shit out.
Wish they could, honestly.
Oh, you saw what they're doing, actually? Because we didn't give love to Taylor and Kelsey on the last episode. We was it?
The bracelet shit?
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Even the Dov, whatever his name is, I don't want to disrespect him.
Dov Kleiman?
Yeah, facts.
He's not a real reporter, though.
He's not.
Interesting.
He steals journalist content.
You know what? I'm actually happy. I'm happy to hear that because if they would have been doing that on an away game, that would have been
crazy.
insane.
Jordan Schultz tweeted, and Jordan Schultz reliable. He's broke
That's
a ton of
that's
news this
the
year.
facts.
But Connor
broke
Hughes
a lot of stuff
refuted
this
it
year.
because the Jets would have to, put a stamp on that and say, yeah, let's do it. And why the hell would the Jets, give
an
out
away
Kansas
team?
City Chiefs?
They'll have it at
makes
home.
no
The thing
sense.
is because Taylor Swift is
Taylor
a
Swift.
megastar.
Yeah,
She's a megastar.
Taylor Swift.
She bigger than Drake?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had to ask you.
Yeah,
I
she's
know our
bigger than
answer,
Drake.
but I had to ask you.
Because there's been a huge thing with Drake to the fact of that he can't play stadiums, which I think is bullshit. He just likes arenas. But Taylor plays in stadiums that fit 80, sometimes 100,000, and she's performed in 20 NFL stadiums. Like, that's a stupid number.
Tough.
And, of course, she's going around the world. She's global. Not that Drake isn't, of course. He is.
Taylor Swift is just more famous.
Yeah, she is.
She's just more famous. Thursday night. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at Jets. I'm going to name you 3 props. Tell me if you're going over or under on them. Zach Wilson, 178.5 passing yards.
Under.
Smash the fucking under.
Under.
Does Zach Wilson get benched in this game?
Ooh, over under what quarter?
Halftime.
No, I think he'll stay by halftime.
I think he plays the whole
What's
game.
the line again?
178.5.
He hasn't hit that once this
Who's the
season.
guy? Tim Boyle?
Boyle, yeah.
Tim
I think
Boyle is the
Simeon's going to
backup.
be inactive.
You're beasting to get Simeon out there.
I'm beasting. At this point, I'm beasting for Tim Boyle. I'll be
And
honest.
honestly, the Jets have had a rough schedule, which even coming into the season, we knew this. Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, the highest passing total he's amounted so far is 170.
Is that against the Bills?
That was against the Cowboys where he threw 3 interceptions.
I'm going under on this as well. Next one is Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns.
2.5.
2.5, really?
Against this Jets defense, it's a stingy
Y'all might
unit.
get tired of shit because y'all going to keep having to get back on that field.
2.5. He did that last week against the Bears. The Jets defense, it's been good. It hasn't been the absolute lockup defense that we were expecting coming to the season outside of week 1. 2.5.
I would stay. I'm staying away.
Yeah, I want to.
staying
Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Over
good.
under.
I'm gonna.
Or you
no,
want to
but
stay away.
That's what I'm saying.
You want to just stay away completely.
Yeah,
I don't
staying away
love
from
this.
That's fine. Zach Wilson over just half a touchdown. So just needs one passing touchdown.
Just half
Needs one passing touchdown.
under.
He's done it in 2 of the 3 weeks.
Under.
But also one was to Garrett Wilson where he made that crazy ass one-handed catch, and the
was
other one was to
Garrett
Garrett
Wilson,
Wilson, who
with
really just
60
did
yards.
everything.
I mean, he can get one.
Against Kansas City, to be honest. But Justin Fields did get one in garbage time. I'm actually going to say he gets one. Yes. I don't want to take this line.
I'll ride with Dehls. I said Dehls. I'll ride with Drew. I'll go over.
For a vibe. I'll
This is not a vibe.
No.
It's not a vibe at all.
I mean, just so we don't just say we don't answer 2 props back to back.
Go over.
I'm sorry. It was a tricky one.
It was.
Let me
Do
give
they
you.
have his interceptions? I'll go over on that.
Hey, he didn't throw an interception against the Patriots. That was only positive of the game.
This is my bad. I had to mention the man of the week, Travis Kelce, because we know that thing with him and Taylor Swift going on. Travis Kelce, 75.5 receiving yards. Taylor Swift will be in attendance for this game.
Second week in a row, man.
Rodgers might be at the game too.
It's a love story.
I'm going over on this. I think Travis Kelce puts on a show. 100 yards, a touchdown. I think he puts on a show.
You know what's funny, dude? Last week, when we found out Taylor was going to be at the game, my boy Frank was just like, you know what? I'm putting in that he's going to score not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns. He goes for an all-time game. He scored 1 at least, so he didn't. He put a bet in on 1 touchdown. He put a bet in on 2 touchdowns. He put a bet in on 3. I do respect it too. 75, you said?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I feel good with this one. I think that he could dominate this matchup.
Taylor's really going to Bears games and Jets games. God bless her.
What do you think? Sauce gonna?
She didn't know a single person.
They talked about it. Robert Saleh said anything could happen because he shadowed Mark Andrews a bit last year. So it wouldn't be surprising if he played him.
75 and a half.
That's Kelce.
I don't love these lines for this Jets game, honestly.
Quincy Williams, #1 rated coverage linebacker.
You know what I would do? Because obviously I know player props is the highlight of what we want to do in Mojo Fantasy right now. But alt spread 2 touchdowns for me. This would be one of those games that I look at. Alt spreads have been pretty good for me on Mojo so far. I did it with the Dolphins versus the Patriots. I did it last night with the Lions and the Packers. Took the alt spread at 6.5. It was at plus 200. Double my money immediately.
Chiefs minus 14.
Minus 13.5.
13.5. What
So
odds on that?
Let's see, actually, because right now the spread last I saw was 9.5.
Yeah, I'm shocked the spread's only 9.5.
It should be more.
We're getting smoked. Don't get
that was the spread versus the Cowboys.
It was, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, give me that.
Yeah, they don't have the alt spread for this game yet.
And not yet. But the 2 props we're going to go with when it comes to the Jets and Chiefs, when that seems like we agreed on, was going under on the Zach Wilson yards, going over on the Travis Kelce yards. Big-time game with Taylor Swift in attendance. Now, Riv, what do you got going on?
My time to shine, baby. I got Baltimore in the Cleveland game. My first bet, they got Lamar Jackson line at 205.5 passing yards. This is the best defense he's played this year. Stingy defense. Are y'all going over or y'all going under?
I'm going to go under on that. Rashad Bateman's not playing. Odell Beckham Jr. is not playing. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, I like them as weapons, but that offensive line is still a bit hobbled up. We know the Browns secondary gets after it. They can cover well. I'm going to go under on that passing yards prop.
It's one of those that we finally see. Well, let's exclude week 1 where it was raining a ton. Cincinnati, we know that they're an elite offense, or haven't shown that so far, but we give them that respect and acknowledgement. To me, this is the first elite test that the Browns have faced. And obviously, early on, we've seen them be statistically one of the best defenses that this game's ever seen through 3 weeks, of course. I don't know if I trust this line enough.
205 is low.
He's only hit it once, though.
Nuts.
And that was against the Bengals.
My MVP pick.
Lamar?
Yeah.
It's
not looking too good. Yeah.
I guess it wasn't that. It's not a bad pick.
Well, now it's kind of crazy. Before it
No,
wasn't.
it's not. He loses
a long
one.
way
They've only lost
this
one
season.
game.
I need him to lock in, though.
He can. He's looked great, honestly.
Starts here, though.
Because last
Over
week-
under, buddy. You're doing too much
I really
talking.
don't know.
Over under.
I
Come on.
disagree. 2-0.
Stay away.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna stay
Cop
away.
out.
I appreciate that.
Cop out.
Cop out.
Next one. So my second pick is going to be Deshaun Watson. Over or under on 1.5 passing TDs. I'm talking mainly to you, though, because you're not a big Deshaun Watson guy. And his shoulder's injured. We have an excuse this week.
So he needs 2 touchdowns.
We have an excuse.
Shoulder injury. I think this is going to be a defensive battle on both sides. I'm going to go under on that one as well.
Talk to me,
He
buddy.
needs to get 2 touchdowns, correct? You know what?
Passing.
I think he does that, actually. I'm going to go
Are
over.
you locked in on that?
I'm locked in on that one.
Okay. And they got this guy, Gus Edwards, yards up here.
This guy.
35.5 rushing yards, over or under.
Gus Edwards is a good back. I'm going to go over on that one.
Think so.
I think if the Ravens are going to move the ball consistently down the field, it's going to be with the rushing attack.
No, Derrick Henry had 20 yards.
I was going to
last
say
week.
Cleveland. The snap percentages were completely.
Their offensive lines are different.
Offensive line's different. Are they healthy this week? Are they coming back? Linderbaum, Staley?
They're on
That's
pace
a good
too.
question.
That's good.
And Justice Hill's injured.
And Gus is coming through a concussion as well. That's something to
He
monitor.
cleared, though.
Also, he's cleared. That's
Pretty
good to
sure,
hear. But yeah, like we just mentioned last week, Derrick Henry was pretty bad against.
Oh, Titans was bad.
Yeah, but even to the point where Derrick Henry came out and was just like, I just got to be better. It's simple as that. This motivated me to lock in. I'm going under on this one.
And then one more. I wish Dehls could jump into this one. This is Elijah Moore.
Real.
Passing yards, 43.5, over under.
To be honest with you, I love this one, actually.
He's been good.
The secondary's been banged up. Elijah Moore seems to be a early favorite target for Deshaun in terms of DPJ versus Elijah Moore. That was a big question coming in. Would you say 46.5? 43 and a half.
It's a little high for Elijah Moore.
It is.
I
Depending
think
on
last week he got it over.
depending on the weather, It could obviously change the game script, but I like that line. I feel like this could be a big Elijah Moore game.
The 3 I'm going with is Lamar Jackson under passing yards, Deshaun Watson under on the touchdowns, and Gus Edwards over on the rushing yards. Those are the 3 I'm going to go.
I'm going to go over on Deshaun's touchdowns of 1.5. I'm going to go under on Gus's rushing. And I'm going to go over on Elijah Moore receiving of 43.5.
What are you going with, Riff?
Out of those, I'm going to go under on Lamar Jackson's passing yards. I'm going to go over on Deshaun Watson's touchdowns. I think he'll have 2. And I'm going to go over on Elijah Moore's receiving yards. Because I think for him to have 2 TDs, he needs Elijah Moore. Coop is coming off a big, big week. So I think they'll have a big game.
Now we'll get into the last game, Drew. Bills, Dolphins.
Here we go.
Come on, man.
And then we'll start the NBA podcast.
Okay, of course, we have to go over Tua Tagovailoa, the most impressive quarterback to start this NFL season. Going up against the Bills. It's going to be an amazing game. Over-under 279.5. The game is in Buffalo.
I seen this stat somewhere that teams that come off of these great historic scoring performances are 1-6 coming out of those. I'm going to go under on this Tua passing.
What was it?
prop.
What was it?
279.5.
So I actually looked it up. Tua has only hit that mark twice against the Bills. He played them 6 times.
Okay. But he hasn't been this Tua. Last year we saw him be.
Well, the first time he hit it, he had 361 yards.
Was that against? Was that
2021.
that was the game that he was horrendous.
The last one he played was 234.
Oh, last year when they went in the snow.
Before that was 186.
That was when he had the concussion.
I'm going to go under.
Okay, Jordan Poyer is not going to be playing.
Yeah, I know. Taylor
Damar
Rapp
Hamlin will be making his debut. That's amazing to hear. For sure. I'm 279.5. I'm actually going to go under on this one. I think that there's going to be more to we're automatically going in with the idea that it's going to be a light show. It's going to be Tua versus Josh Allen. The Dolphins are going to play it smart. They're not going to play into their hand. We already saw that with New England. Tua was able to manage the game wonderfully. We're able to come away with the win in Foxborough. I feel similarly with this one, where it could be a big Tua just makes the reads that he needs to push the ball down the field. And we see Mostert, we see A-Chain go ahead and get things going on the ground as well. I'm going to go under on this line. Oh, it's still my turn, obviously. And we'll stay on Tua here, being over under 1.5 passing touchdowns.
I'll go over.
I'm staying away from
this one.
Over.
Okay,
I'm going over on this one.
I'm with you, Riv. I feel like even still, they get into that red zone. That's where we still can see Tua being active as a passer. Now let's get on to Josh Allen. The other story of this game as well, one of the best quarterbacks in the game.
Is his 1.5 passing touchdowns?
His is also 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Over
on that.
He kills. He kills.
I'm going over
the
on
Dolphins anytime they play. I love that actually. I'm gonna go over as well.
Do they have his interceptions?
They don't have his interceptions.
You were taking that?
Makes sense. I mean, when was the last time he went back-to-back weeks without an interception?
It's been a minute. Probably last year.
2021, I think, something like that.
No, he just did it.
He did it once.
Versus
Right?
the Raiders.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, Raiders and
No, Commanders. He threw an interception.
No, Commanders, but I'm talking about from the Jets to the Raiders game.
It needs to be back-to-back
Back-to-back.
games.
Oh,
He threw an
back-to-back games.
interception. I didn't even know he threw
without throwing an interception.
No, last year he did it once. Like if I had, he probably did it once.
I'm telling. I think what I saw was 2021. If you could
I'll
look
give it
that
a
up.
glance.
All right, I appreciate that. Gonna go to one of the bigger stories in Buffalo season so far, and that's gonna be James Cook, who has been amazing for them. Back-to-back weeks, over 100 rushing, 58.5 rushing yards. To me, this was my start of the week on the Fantasy Reaction Show. I think that the defense is gonna hone in on Josh Allen and force Josh Allen to hand the ball off. They've shown a likeness to do it these past couple of weeks. James Cook has been overly efficient. I love this line. This is definitely one of my bigger plays of the week.
Josh did it twice last year, weeks 2 and 3. Then he went on a 3-week stretch from 13 to 15. It looks like.
Thank heavens he did it twice.
We've seen the vulnerability with the Dolphins defense come from
I wonder if
the
it's
rush
a turnover.
defense.
Did he fumble in those games?
He did.
Yeah.
That's
No, he did go. Wait. Never mind.
He fumbled.
Well, he had 3 fumbles in week 3 last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think that's what it is. He's
Who was that against?
Week 3, that was against Miami.
But the statistics.
It was 700 degrees.
He had
that
400
day.
yards, and 2 touchdowns.
and in the snow, he was even more impressive.
Yeah.
He had
so
300
was
yards that game.
He was OD.
304, 4 touchdowns.
The vulnerability with the Dolphins defense has been their rush defense. Week 1 versus the Chargers, it showed, and then they didn't face any efficient run offense after that.
That's exactly
I'm
what
gonna go
said.
over on James Cook. I'm gonna take that line.
Talk to me, Riv. You like this one? Or you're gonna stay away?
I already have 3, but I do like this line because I think they're going to hand off the ball more to Cook. They've trusted Cook with the running game, and I think that's going to be one of the ways they win this game off balance attack.
I feel like I have to do this because the number's pretty damn high. Tyreek Hill, 92.5 receiving.
He doesn't play well against Buffalo.
Okay.
So I don't know if I would.
I got my 3. I got Tua under on the yards, Josh Allen over the touchdowns,
is a lot.
and James Cook over on the rushing yards.
I know. This one I felt pretty comfortable answering. So, yeah, mine's going to be Tua Tagovailoa under 279.5. That's not indicative of how I feel he'll play. I think it'll just be in terms of just game plan. It'll be more catering to the run and taking his shots whenever they're available. I'm going over Josh Allen touchdowns, and we're going to go over James Cook for 58.5 rushing.
Tua's passing under, Tua's touchdowns over, and Josh Allen's touchdowns over.
Okay, I love that.
We're in love with Mojo Fantasy. It's a crazy new app that turns sportsbook odds and selections into fantasy contests. Here's how it works. There are thousands of NFL and MLB player props. You build a portfolio, and the better your portfolio performs, the more cash you win. Pick as many props as you want and try to beat the crowd. It's a whole new way to play fantasy. The props act like stocks, so you can buy and sell live all game long. It's the only fantasy app that lets you make moves after the game starts, so you're not stuck with a bad pick. You can cash in on a hot start or just hang on and let them ride. That's it. Make picks, make moves, make money. Check it out on the Apple App Store now. They're coming to more states and adding more sports soon. On to the NBA portion of this podcast.